Newton running. Newton's got it. What a play! Touchdown! End zone. Touchdown, Carolina.
Damn Newton.
Watch it, film. Let's go. Watch this. Right. Newton finds him. McCaffrey. Touchdown. Newton gonna run it. Look at end zone. Touchdown. Cam Newton. Touchdown. Cam Newton.
Oh, now this is a thrill for the first time on Get Up. We are delighted to welcome the one, the only Cam Newton. And I will just say this quickly. Since you started working here at First Take, everyone has said to me, this is the first time you and I have met in person, everyone has said, you're not going to believe how big he is when you meet him for the first time. I'm not going to believe how big he is.
I told you.
What did you say?
Man, the first time we played him in preseason, when he walked out, I walked past him, and me and Troy Polamalu got to the locker room. We was like, brother, our days are numbered. I was like, they making quarterbacks like that. It ain't for us no more.
I'm going to need an apple box to continue this block. Okay, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, sir.
So there's one thing that you know about our show. It means we are going to take your name and make it into a segment.
Let's rock and roll.
So it is going to be called Newton's Law, okay?
I thought y'all were in the 4th and 1 and got that one. We do the same thing, okay.
All right, we're going to talk about the 4 quarterbacks going this weekend. Let's start with the best of them all. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
How would you describe what is at stake for Patrick Mahomes this weekend and going forward with the possibility of a 3-peat?
Man, listen, he's doing something that no quarterback has ever done. And to be labeled something comparable, it's not. So he has the opportunity to walk into immortality, right? It's big. We always want to pay homage or homage to the Bradys and the Peytons and the guys who came before him, but this is something that we've never seen, and it's just got to call it what it is.
And so let's talk about then the game he has to play in order to do it. The Chiefs have been doing it. We always say they just sort of major in winning. They do whatever it takes.
Right.
If this is a game that offense, we all know he can do it, but can that offense, if they need to score 34, 37 points to win this game, is that offense capable of doing it?
The thing that a lot of people are not really highlighting is I'm really curious to see what version of Patrick Mahomes he picks to win. And it's all predicated of how to win. Each game is a new game that you have to win. So many times we think that, oh man, Patrick Mahomes has to go out and throw for 400. He does not. I call it like this. It's an oxymoron. The quarterback who throws for the most passing yards in this game will lose. Understand why. Okay, the name of the game is controlling the line of scrimmage. Also, Bart, you got a situation where in the past week, what's been the common denominator? He who protects the ball wins the game. Therefore, if you protect the ball, keeping it at around 200, 220, 250, that's a clean game. Going into that 300, 350, that means desperation is on the horizon.
You agree with that part?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. Really, it's going to come down to the red zone and what exotic formation does Andy Reid have, and are the Buffalo Bills prepared to stop it when they see something they've never seen before?
Well, but to me, I think the difference is this. When you go back to that first game, Patrick Mahomes did commit the turnover. And in the end, when Josh Allen had to go above and beyond the X's and O's on 4th down, he did that, carrying tacklers into the end zone. And so I think Patrick Mahomes at some point in this game is going to have to lift his team up on his back. And no quarterback has done it throughout his tenure more than Patrick Mahomes has.
Next question on Newton's Law. And for the record, my idea was Cam I am, but okay, I got voted down. Here we go. Here we go. Josh Allen.
Yep.
Finally getting a chance to slay the dragon.
Yep.
What is at stake for him on Sunday?
Legacy. But can you beat Goliath? I think that's where I'm hearing you guys talk in the background and backstage, and I'm saying to myself, that's why we look at Burrow different.
Yeah,
it's not that Burrow has won an MVP. It's not that Burrow has won more games. We look at Burrow different because Burrow went into the trap and took over the trap. Yep. And now even lost in the Super Bowl, but we look at him different by merely he beat Patrick Mahomes. And that's even more of a challenge in its own right. But this is the caveat about Josh Allen that I kind of sensed early for Lamar in the game. You don't got to do too much.
Right.
You do not have to do too much. Trying to make the play, we know that you have to have a good game. That's personally. But overarching, you have to play a clean game. Let the guys around you make a play. And to Bart's point, that may be a concern in this whole
To be clear, I mean, we used to say this about you. Does Cam Newton need to be Superman for his team to win this game? You're saying Josh Allen doesn't need to be Superman for his team to win this game?
He does. Let's not get it confused.
Okay.
He does, but playing clean football supersedes being Superman.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, Josh Allen's going to have a slow heartbeat, right? Can he stay composed? You know, because you can say whatever you want about beating somebody in the regular season. It's different, right? We beat each other in the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, your heart rate wakes up, everything moves faster, and it's about, can you make the right play? Because everything speeds up. Can you slow it down? And can you keep your teammates, involved?
He has to find a way to not be a control freak, right? The ultimately talented people, the people like Cam Newton, they feel like they can fix everything. Yeah. Oh, we can't get a stop on defense? Watch what I go do. Oh, he's not catching the ball? I'll use my legs. Josh Allen can't get into that game. If somebody drops a pass, he has to go back to him. If the run game isn't working, he has to be comfortable with turning around and handing the ball off. But when it does get to those moments and they call his name, that's when he has to show up. The thing is, this year, they don't have to call on him to do that as much as they used to.
Can I say something real quick, too? There's an iconic picture of Tom Brady on the sideline, and the thing that people see is he's mad. What if things go crazy early on? Mm-hmm. Does Josh Allen blow a fuse? Mm-hmm. If they find themselves down by 10, 14, 17 points in the first half, does he blow a fuse? Or does he say, man, I'm going to chip away at it? I'm going to chip away at it. And that's the caveat that differentiates the different types of players. You're extremely talented, but I don't have to do it all by myself.
When you look at this season, the only time that they were in that position was at Baltimore early on in the season, and we saw him start to struggle because there was nobody who could make those plays. Right. So it's about keeping this game, and with the way Kansas City plays, it should be that. It's about keeping this game in a place where Josh Allen doesn't feel that pressure to do those things.
Let's go to the NFC game. You had one of the great rookie seasons any quarterback ever had in NFL history. We've seen a few of them in the AFC Championship game. Speaking of which, let's do X Factors for Championship Sunday. RC, let's talk about the Eagles. Give me a championship X Factor for Philadelphia.
Mr. Inner Excellence himself, A.J. Brown, especially if Jalen Hurts is hobbled. He can go outside and win in one-on-one situations. He has to come up with big catch and run. He has to make some big plays down the field. If you might lose the chunk aspect of your run game without Jalen Hurts, then A.J. Brown has to be able to produce some of those things in one-on-ones outside.
And Tannenbaum, that plays perfectly into your X Factor.
Yeah, RC, I'm coming right back at you. You say A.J. Brown, I say Marshawn Lattimore. We just talked about it. I love the physicality of his play. For a decade battling Mike Evans, very similar player in A.J. Brown. He has 15 career interceptions. His problem's been durability, but when he's out there, he can make plays on the ball, and he matches up well with A.J. Brown, which is hard to do. Should be a great matchup.
That was an in-season trade that they made to get Lattimore. It'd be fascinating if it's a huge factor. Bart, Chiefs, give me an X factor.
Yeah, I'm going to give you Purdue's finest, George Karlaftis. Last week, he had 3 sacks. He's become he was always great at setting the edge in the run, but now he's added, a pass rush into his repertoire. They're going to focus on Chris Jones, who's going to give him opportunities. When you get to the big man, you got to get him down, and he's big enough to do it.
And Graziano, how about the other side? Buffalo, X factor.
I'm going to go with Von Miller. They signed him in free agency after the last time they lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs, or maybe it was after that divisional loss to the Chiefs. Anyway, hasn't been a factor for Buffalo to the extent that they wanted him to. They eased him up in terms of his snap counts all year, so he would be healthy for the postseason. They feel like they can deploy him more in this game than they have been this year. The reason they signed Von Miller years ago was to get Patrick Mahomes on the ground in a playoff game, and if he can do it, could make the difference.
Okay, so look, there's the two sides to this, and we've lived in this all week long. There's all the X's and the O's, and it's fascinating as a football nerd myself. But then there's the history part of this. And I make no apologies for this. Josh Allen can become a different person in football history based upon the outcome of this game on Sunday. Now, he'll have another game to worry about 2 weeks later, but he's got to get past this hurdle at some point, and it will change everything for him.
It will. It will to an extent, right? Because if he wins this game, what does it do for us? Does it put him where we think of Joe Burrow? Right? Because Joe Burrow was a guy that went to Kansas City and did this exact thing. Josh Allen wants to
Bringing it out of his end zone, Isaiah. And all deep in his own territory. He coughs up the football.
That's what it is, baby. That's
and
what
he
it
will
is.
score. Touchdown, Washington. John Bates. Excellent work there to get in on the touchdown run. And Washington has tied the ball game with the extra point still to come. Now it's Hopkins to add the extra point. And with that, his guys take the lead here by a point. Capital and FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. They love their football in this part of the country, and this crowd is ready to go as their guys will match up with the Buffalo Bills. Two teams more than ready to get this one started. And we are underway from FedEx Field. Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10.
A pretty decent game. Other quarterbacks, they have a hard time getting past it and often put the ball up for grabs the rest of the ball game.
And a productive gain out to the 14 after starting at the 7. It's a gain of 7. 7 yards the pick up there. 3 yards remain for 2nd down. Fitzpatrick now. Slings this deep from McLaurin. It got his man complete. And all the way down to the 24-yard line. Quite a show of arm strength right there. That was in the air for a long time, and it was on target, too.
And from where we sit, if you had told me that that ball was somehow going to get from point A to point B, I would have told you no way. I mean, that was an absolute cannon shot, and he still dropped it right on the money, too.
And that ball traveling 68 yards in the air, according to Next